morning, everyone. How are you? Hope you've had lovely days in the dreary, horrible rain. Isn't it horrendous? Anyway, the irony is our garden furniture arrived today and we've built it in the house because it's too rainy to put it outside. But anyway, I'm hoping that we're going to get this heat wave that I keep hearing about. Anyway, enough about the weather. So tonight we're going to get cracked straight on. I've got loads to talk about. And this is the subject, and the headline of tonight is Ban Your Own Fake News. Now, when I first thought of this title, hi Gina, the subject matter I thought it would be about is different to actually what it is about. So I'm going to start by telling a story. And this is a story that my coach told me in one of our calls. Hi, you'll have heard this story already. So my coach told me this story, and I know that you are going to relate, and you're going to go, oh my God, I do that. Hey Louise, how are you? Hey Luke. So a few people get on. Okay, so the story goes like this. She was going to get her eyelashes done. Hi Debbie. And the girl that she gets her eyelashes done, she really likes her. They really get on. They always talk non-stop. Hi, Amanda. They really, really get on. And every time that they leave each other, they always say, oh, you know, we must meet up for a drink. We must meet up for a coffee, for lunch, whatever. But it's never, ever been arranged. So she went this particular time and they had a really good conversation about life and stuff and everything. And afterwards, as she was leaving, she said to the girl who was doing her lashes, look, get your phone out, or I'll message you later, and we'll arrange to meet for a coffee this week. Like, let's get it organised. And hey Craig, hey Christopher, hey Louise. And the lash girl went, yeah, okay, like that. That's how she said it. And immediately my coach thought and felt hurt, like a bit rejected. You know, she wasn't like, oh yeah, great, amazing, let's get it booked in, can't wait. Hi Julie, hey Sarah, hey Brogan, hey Amanda. And so she said, and so she went away feeling quite hurt and a bit rejected. Now, because my coach is a highly evolved woman, it didn't go the way that it would have gone for most of us. So in the way it did go, oh no, let's play with the way that most of us have gone. So she then felt a little bit hurt, and she thought, oh, maybe she doesn't like me as much as I like her. And that was the story that she told herself. That was the little bit of fake news that she got in her head. Maybe she doesn't like me as much as I like her. Maybe she's just being polite. Maybe, oh, she's really false. This is not what she thought, but this is how we could have interpreted this situation. A simple, hey Lorraine, hey Auntie, a simple, yeah, okay, yeah, great, in that manner. And so what most of us would have done, we would have made that mean that she didn't like us as much, that she was being false, and some of us, depending on how low our self-esteem was, would go to town on it. Oh, she's actually a bit of a bitch. I actually find her really false. And then what we would have done, so then my coach went on to meet her husband for lunch. And let's play it out. We're playing it out that as if a normal person, not as highly evolved as my coach, would have played this out. So then she meets her husband James, and they sit for lunch. She goes, and he says, "Oh, your lashes look nice," and she goes, "Yeah, thanks." And she snaps because she's feeling hurt and she's feeling a little bit rejected. So she pushes that nasty feeling onto her husband, and she goes, "Yeah, thanks." And then in his head, he makes that mean that she doesn't appreciate him, and that there he was paying her a compliment, and she doesn't take it, she's not taking it in the way that she should, and all this internal dialogue's going on. So this fake news in his head is that his wife doesn't appreciate him as much. You won't bloody bother next time paying her a compliment because all she's done is bite his head off. So then he's in that space. And then the waiter comes over and he says, "Are you ready to order?" And James just goes, "No, not yet, mate." And so the waiter then goes in his head, "Do you know what? I'm sick of this job. I'm sick of rude people. Maybe it's time to quit." maybe it's time to find another job. So you see what's happening, right? From that one incident of somebody just responding in a way that we didn't like or that felt weird to us, we then make fake news up in our head that affects our mood. We then pass that on. Hey Jess, hey Sarah, hey Rach, hey Claire, hey Joanne. So we then make this fake news up, and this fake news passes from person to person to person to person, and nobody said anything. Now, we've all done that. How many people do you not like just because one time they were a bit funny with you? Like one time. So you've made this, yes, and it's like a ripple effect. So you've made this one thing mean something, your choice, and then it's passed on. Okay, so that's not what happened, but that's what would have happened with most people. What did happen was, because Michelle's aware of this happening, she said, I wonder what's going on with her. So she sent her a message when she got home, and she said, hey honey, listen, I know that you said you were really tired and you're really busy and that you haven't had a holiday for ages. So here's the link to the holiday company I've just used. They were really great. Speak to this person. They were really brilliant. I hope you have a wicked day. Looking forward to that coffee. To which the person replied, oh my God, Michelle, thank you so much. Really enjoyed seeing you today. I'm so sorry I had to rush off after our appointment. I was actually going to ask you, we've got a family gathering, family and close friends happening this weekend, and we'd love it if you and your husband came. And so in that moment, there was nothing wrong apart from that person was a little bit stressed out, a little bit tired, a little bit rushed off her feet, and didn't respond in the exact way that was expected when that's, you know, Michelle said that to her. So can you see how amazingly simple that is, but how often we do that? And so I also looked into, when I looked into this subject, I heard something called agenda listening, and we all do it. So agenda listening, just let me get the exact definition because I want to get it exactly nailed on from my notes. So it's the thing we do when we only hear what we feel backs up our emotional state. Claire, I do that. I've sent messages to always something go somewhere else like that. We need to let go of our egos. Yes, we do need to let go of our egos, but easy to say that, Claire, you know, easy to say that. And as you know, we all do it. Like, I am not immune to this. Like, we all do it, especially with your partners and your husbands. They say something, and because of the mood we're in, we take it exactly the way we want to take it, so we can feel arsey about it and it can justify our bad mood. We all do it all the time. But awareness of it is the first step to getting over it and not affecting your life so much. I mean, it's still, you know, we're all human. It's still going to affect us at some time. However, awareness of it makes us better at dealing with it. So yeah, it's called agenda listening. So especially when we've got low self-esteem and we hear an innocent comment and we load it with self-loathing. So somebody could say something and suddenly we take it as, oh God, they mean that they don't like me, or they mean that I look fat, or they mean that I'm stupid, or they mean that they don't. We can do this at work quite a lot as well. Somebody will make a quip or a comment and we make it mean that they think we're not very good at our job. And so all this consistent fake news that we're putting into our head all the time, making it mean what supports how we're feeling. And it's such a self-destructive thing. So one of the morals of that story is to never take anything personally. Easy to say, right? So one of the most incredible books I ever read, it was actually life-changing. I know that's a bit dramatic, but it was called The Four Agreements, and I'll put the link to the book in the comments. And The Four Agreements is a very short little book. It's by Dan Miguel Ruiz. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but anyway. And the four agreements are as follows, and it's really, really relevant to this fake news thing. The first one is be impeccable with your word. And what that means is everything you say manifests. So that's like, hey Mark, Mark's in the front room. Hi Joe. Hey Darren. Hi Amphi. When I used to do that when people would not respond and my paranoia would kick in. I just started checking that all was okay before I ended up in some weird spiral. Hey, we all do it. Hey Mel. You're in Florida, Mel, that's nice. Yeah, we all do it. It's so easy to do. And especially when we're feeling a bit down and we're feeling a bit grumpy and a bit crap, it's really easy to do. But yeah, it's really important just to be aware of it. Anyway, so back to the 4 agreements. So the 4 agreements is impeccable with your words. So everything you say manifests, your intention manifests, and that goes with your thoughts as well. So if you're in a bad mood, you're unconsciously intending on staying there, because we all do it. So you'll hear something and you'll make it mean something to support that. You'll everything you say manifests. Everything, being impeccable with your word is talking about yourself in a beautiful way. It's being thoughtful and using your words wisely when you're talking to other people, but when you're talking about what you want, you're talking about what you don't want. So that's the first agreement. The next 3 are the most relevant to this. So the second one is never take anything personally. And this was massive. This was massive for me. So don't take anything personally, because most of the time, if something negative is said to you, it's usually about the other person. They've usually got shit going on and they're taking it out on you. Simple as that. Especially if they care about you. Like, this is a friend, partner, children, parents, people that actually love you. Like, on paper they love you, but they're talking to you like you know what. Then it's because something's going on with them. And unless, hi Rebecca, hey Gemma, so don't take anything personally, negatively, and that's pretty we've all heard that before. But the thing that really blew my head off was, or if anyone says anything really nice to you, and it's not that you don't like that, because we all like a compliment, but you shouldn't have to hear it to feel validated. And this was massive for me. So I'm very, very well. I was very motivated by recognition. I was very motivated by people going, "Oh, you're doing a great job," or "Here's a pat on the back," and "Well done." And it's one of the reasons I thrived in my other business. But what I realized is that when you're trying to achieve and doing things for the validation, and you're not giving that validation to yourself, then there's something going on a personal level. And that's something that needs looking at. So, but the thing relevant to the part of that relevant to this subject is, don't take anything personally. If somebody's a bit funny with you, or if somebody's a bit off, or if somebody doesn't respond in the way that you want, or if somebody doesn't respond to you at all immediately because you expect them to, it's usually because they've got stuff going on. So before you assume they're a cow, or they're being bitchy, or they're being false, or they're being fake, ask how they are first. Because if somebody you know and love, or somebody that you get on with, responds to you in a negative way, it is 99.9% about them. They've got something going on that they're not processing very well, and they're just taking it out, or they're not able to. People say, "Oh, she's got no filter," and those people who really, really wear their head, wear their hearts on their sleeves, or people that show. Like Mark can be quite like, if he's annoyed, he doesn't mind showing it. Like he'll say, whereas I'll try and hide it a little bit, but depending on what type of person you are in control of how you respond. And so a really self-developed, confident person won't take it personally. They'll just go, "Oh, she's having a bit of a shit day, I'll let her be." We don't make it mean that it's about us, and we don't pile on the self-loathing to make us feel worse about ourselves. The third agreement is, don't make assumptions. This is very, very linked to the second one, and especially in regards to the thing we're talking about, is don't assume that you know why they're being funny. Don't make it have anything to do with you, because unless it has, and if it has, then there's something, that's another subject that needs addressing. But don't assume anything. And we do this all the time. Hi, Nick. Hey, Zoe, Sarah. Everybody. We make it, we just assume all the time. All the time. I do it all the time, and this is the one I find the hardest not to do, because I'm quite an intuitive person as well, because I'm quite good at reading people, because it's my job. I can make I can make assumptions in sessions, and I'm right, but the danger of doing that all the time is really, really strong, and we can get really messed up with our thoughts if we make too many assumptions. So that's the third one. And then the fourth one, just out of interest, it's not really relevant to this, but the fourth one is always do your best. Like, just do your best. Always do your best. Do your best with the other three. And that's never assuming that your best is going to be the same every day. So you're my best today, because I'm feeling a bit poorly today, actually, a bit tired. My best today is going to be different to my best tomorrow. But as long as you're your best, you're trying your best, then that's the fourth agreement. So I highly recommend that book. It's really, really brilliant how those four things, if you just live your life by those four things, be impeccable with your word, never take things personally, don't make assumptions, and always do your best, life can be a beautiful, beautiful thing. So my 3 top tips for sorting out your own fake news is: number 1, before assuming the other person is having a go at you, instead show them some love or ask them how they are. First thing you do, whenever anything's feeling like you're being personally attacked, always send some love first, ask them how they are. And this can be really difficult, especially if you're in the habit of always assuming that it's about you. And let's face it, that's a reality for some people, that everything that's said to them, oh, they're being a cow, or I know people like this. And it's not their fault, it's just the way that they've been brought up, it's their outlook on life, it's their attitude to other people. So it's really, really relevant, that, for some people. So before you assume it's about you, ask if they're all right, because they might say, oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm in such a bad day, this happened, and this happened. And then you can be there and offer some empathy and be the friend. Being a good friend is not taking your friend's shit personally when they're directing it at you, period. Number 2, if someone says something that triggers you, ask yourself this: if I was in a really good mood, would this bother me? Because if you're oh, bless you, Claire. Thanks, babe. I was feeling a bit rough, so I put a bit of lippy on, as you do. Andy, it's funny. I think it's funny how we can forget that there are more. Yes, absolutely. Most people, and I'm including me, and I'm not immune to all this, most people just care about themselves, actually. And it's how is this affecting me? How is that person's decision, behavior, stuff affecting me? How's it making me feel? When actually it's nothing to do with you, it's to do with that person, their life and their decision and their choices and their, attitude and their everything. And as long as we just, deal with our own stuff and give love to other people, everything will be fine. So I was on number 2. Yeah, if somebody says something true, I say, if I was in a really good mood, would this bother me? So if you're in a bit of a foul mood, this is especially relevant with partners. So if you're a bit in a bad mood and they say something and it triggers you and you decide to react, then you've got to ask yourself this. So this is what I do. I'll go, okay, if I was feeling all right and in a playful, happy, joyful mood, would that comment have bothered me? And if the answer to the question is no, then don't respond in the way that you feel an urge to. And this all sounds very contrived and very controlled, and it won't always work, but it's just a few little pointers that, if interrupted, if you just think about those 2 things. 1, is it actually about me, or is there something going on with them? Let me ask them if they're all right. Number 2, if I was in a really good mood, would this bother me? And if you just ask that question every time something bothers you, then you can answer yes or no. And if the answer was, yeah, even if I was in a really good mood, this would still bother me, then you address it. But if the answer to that question is no, you can just maybe zip it and go for a walk, and then the argument doesn't happen. And this is especially relevant if you are always having the same argument about the same thing. And then number 3, do some detective work. Sort of sit down with a cuppa and just look back over the last sort of 3 months. Hey, Linda. Hey, Joe. Hi. Do some detective work and think, over the last 3 months, what people, situations, or events have affected me the most. So, for example, do you and your partner, or you and your kids, always seem to get into an argument about the same thing? Because that's just, I've done this, like, especially with Dylan and obviously me and Mark, there's certain things that we always get into a row about. But that has actually not happened in a while because I've been doing this. So, and because we've both been doing this, we've spoken about, hi Crystal, we've spoken about, this is why I react this way, and this is why you react this way. So let's try and find another way of reacting, or another way of dealing with it. So just sit down and think, is there another approach or a different response that would change the outcome? Because whenever you're arguing with somebody or when you're in some conflict, hi Sarah, in some conflict, you bring you to the party. And so it's not always the other person's fault. Like, you've got to remember that, you know, it's not what happens to us, it's how we respond to it. We always have a choice on how we respond. We're not always right. And it's usually never about us when somebody else is reacting badly. So, excuse me. So they're the three things I want you to think about. So if you can use any of those little tricks, little techniques, little hacks to maybe just interrupt you going rah and responding in your, you know, full tigress mode because it's not nearly necessary, then I've done my job. And so I would love to hear any feedback of how that's worked for you. So if you, or if you've got any specific situations, like I've said, any of the lives that I'm doing now, if you've got any specific situations that you think, yeah, that sort of sounds all right, Charlotte, but it doesn't work in this scenario and you need some support with that or some help or some ideas that I might have, then please join the Facebook, my private Facebook group. So I will be doing a live Q&A at the end of March for your personal predicaments and situations, and see if we can come up with a solution. And the thing is, the great thing about most things is that we can change the situation. We don't have to rely on another person for the situation to change. We bring us, you know, we're in that argument too. There's an argument going on between two people, and so we always have to be conscious of the fact that, what am I doing that is making this worse? And owning that and taking responsibility for it, making a different choice. Because you changing your energy in a situation, you changing your behavior, and the way you think and the way you respond, and sharing how you're doing that with the other person that this is coming up with, can be life-changing. Like, and I'll share a bit of a personal story. So, you know, money's something that me and Mark always row about. Like, we always used to row about it. And recently we've had some really good conversations about this, and really said, well, when you do this, this is how it makes me feel, and this is how it makes me feel. And it's very lovely when you've got a husband that is open to growth. And the other day there was a bit of a stressful situation. We managed to get through it and we didn't have a row. And I was like, babe, check us out. We didn't end up in a row. We actually had a really lovely day. And I was like, if we can nail this, we're literally like, you know, bordering on perfect relationship. So obviously nothing's perfect, but you know what I mean? So it's a real game changer if you can just ban your own fake news, ask yourself some empowering questions, know that you've always got a choice in every single situation that you're in. We're not always right. Sorry. We're not always right. And it's never usually about us. And once we understand that, it's liberating, because nothing can offend us. Nothing can get under our skin. And of course it does. But, you know, if we could reduce that by half, then, you know, life gets a whole lot sunnier. So that's it, I'm done. So I hope you enjoyed that. Any questions, feel free to reach out. Any feedback, feel free to reach out. Please join the Facebook group. Recommend it to anybody that you think this would help. And also tag anybody who you think would need to hear this message. So lovely to all of those that said hey and that have joined and that have commented. I appreciate you a billion million times over and over and over. I love you lots. So I'm going, mwah.